solar plexus thing. So for that purpose, we are going to pray first again. I'm trying to bookend all of these things with prayer going in and coming out. So I know you're writing down the prayer. We are going to dissect it anyway. But let us take a moment to ask for those 3 gateway graces again. To make the focus of this prayer the solar plexus. One where endurance is already programmed into us. Call to the gateway goddesses. Please flow through us the maiden grace of humility to know that we do not really know what understanding is in terms of our divine nature. That our true self and our false self understand things very differently, that we would penetrate deeper into the meaning of this grace through direct experience, knowing that we do not know, but that we are very willing to be shown and to experience this grace. Flow the mother grace of hope through us. That through this grace of understanding, we will be able to position ourselves in this world with a deeper sense of what is real, of what is true, of what is really going on, particularly that which the mind cannot comprehend. That certain things we may never know, yet we can in some way understand beyond words. Grant us that grace of hope, that light pulling us through the shadowy tunnels of the situations in our lives, ever changing, ever shifting. Pull us through with the mother grace of hope. And particularly the crone grace of endurance, that we may endure whatever this grace brings to us or brings up within us. That it is for our greater understanding that we can digest truth, and in that bring up the lead that is calling for, screaming for, suffering for the alchemization into gold. That we may redefine the truth of who we are. And in that process of dissolution and destruction of what was never true about us, from those ashes can rise, like the phoenix, our true nature that understands all of life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So mote it be. Amen. The grace of understanding is the antidote to the deadly sin of entitlement. I remember growing up with my parents plenty of times where they, how come you won't let me do this? Or how come you won't let me do that? Now my parents were pretty permissive on the whole. Like I said, I'm the youngest of 4 kids, so by the time they got around to me, they let me juggle knives. All right, it's like, well, that's why I have such an intricate and interesting internal life. I was left to myself quite a bit. But it wasn't until I started working with this grace seriously that when I would notice that I would get angry. Okay, now when you feel anger, where does it usually start in your body? Solar plexus, right? It's, like you said, a very important power center. There is a philosophy that says anger is power blocked. So if you think of power flowing from you, and then it gets blocked, it builds up, this pressure builds up. Which is why dealing with our anger, the Course in Miracles says anger is never justified. Anger is never justified. Yeah, say that to somebody who's angry. That would be a fun explosion to watch. Put up the splash guards, bulletproof bracelets, right? Because you are never upset for the reason that you think. You're never upset for that. That's another Course in Miracles. You're never upset for the reason that you think. Can you understand that when someone is angry, they're not usually angry at the situation? That there's something else brewing inside of them. How many of you were allowed to freely express your anger growing up, childhood, adolescence, adulthood. Anybody? Go ahead, scream your head off. Actually, my mom would let me do that. So she was like, go ahead, scream it out. You know, primal scream therapy, Gestalt therapy, we were talking about Gestalt therapy before. I mean, it really does release the pressure. But without the grace and without forgiveness and without understanding, it's just going to build up again. So, you know, you can be angry at this and push it down, and angry at that and push it down, and angry at that and push it down, and the state of the world, and politics, and traffic. And then somebody like farts in the wrong key, and you murder them. Has nothing to do with them. So you are never upset for the reason you think. You're never upset. Reason, there's that word. You're never upset for the reason you think. But then we can pair with that anger is never justified because you're only angry at yourself. So whatever landmine you might have stepped on, it's your landmine. It's like pushing buttons. Like, again, Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, go home and live with your family for 2 weeks. Right? You will see how much shit you have left to process. Why? Because we have buttons. But you know what? People I like being around are not necessarily button touchers, and if they accidentally touch one, I completely understand. It's like, well, you don't know me, right? You know me, but you didn't know that was a sore spot for me. But if someone steps on your landmine, it's your landmine. Is it their fault that they pulled the pin on your grenade? Or was it your grenade? This is where the grace of understanding really comes in. Wow, I understand on some level that I have unfinished business. Could we just start there? Grant me the grace to understand that I am carrying crosses I'm not even aware of. And that affects my mood more than traffic, more than astrology, more than other people's behavior. What makes us angry usually is we are not getting our control needs met. Let's talk about control issues, shall we? Please raise your hand if you are a control freak. Every hand better go up, because we all have our corner of control freakness. It may not be at the extreme level of a multitasking mini manager, where everything, like an OCD thing. I'm not that OCD. I've learned I'm not. You move your home, see how OCD you are. I still have boxes of shit that I haven't even run. Oh, I came across my high school yearbook picture yesterday. Mom gave me a box full of stuff. She goes, "Oh, I found stuff from your high school." I don't know why she was keeping it. Opened it up. There I am. The Duran Duran Brian Setzer hair. I should post it on Facebook. It's hysterically funny. There's your resting bitch face. I look like I have something sour in my mouth. Can't possibly be OCD. Please. I videotaped myself with a wild cowlick in the back of my head for a month. I'm not that OCD. However, someone lets one of my cats out, all of a sudden I'm going back to my ancient training. And how can I make you suffer the most? Right? But sometimes it's just when people say that I'm an event planner, someone says they're going to show up, and 2 minutes before they show up, oh, I forgot, I can't make it. You wasted my time. You wasted my energy. You wasted my gasoline. You wasted my precious entitlement, right? So to get that we all have emotional baggage, psychic baggage. This guy that I'm dating, really, he's so great. There's nothing about him. He took me out to a beautiful dinner on Saturday night. A lovely French bistro in Huntington on Wall Street. It was just lovely. I drove to his place. He drove me there. Didn't really know where we were going. He just told me to dress nice, so I did. You know, I got the clothes. I'm a clothes horse. I'm not a hoarder. I'm a clothes horse. In other words, I don't hoard cardboard boxes. I hoard really nice clothes. Today's not the perfect example. This is for work clothes. But it was just a lovely, lovely evening. So on the drive there, we were talking about our relationship, because we're still just dating, and you know, we're setting up our boundaries as we go along, as you do. You negotiate these things. You don't even realize you're negotiating these things. So how I left it with him on the road there, I said, well, you know, if you want us to be exclusive, take your time, go ahead, talk to your therapist, talk to your friends, you know, figure out what you want, and when you're ready, you let me know, and then I will decide. I will decide whether or not I want to, but I can go through that process pretty because I want to. So that was sort of tipping my hand a little bit. And he said, well, what if I can't fall in love again? I said, oh, that just means you have psychic scar tissue around your heart like everybody else on planet Earth. But I'm not taking that personally. That's between you and your therapist. That's not about me. That's not about me. What if I can't fall in love again, right? Can't or won't. I mean, it was a good conversation. But that's the point. How could I hold that against him? That he was even thinking about, what if I can't? I've been hurt before. And, you know, the sarcasm in me I had to push down a little bit. I'm like, yes, just you, only you. You're the only person who fell in love and got hurt. Yep, no, all of those other dramas were just complete fiction. You're the only one who actually was there. Could you imagine what a hard ass I could be? Oh, what a nightmare I could be to date. I'm wicked smart, as they say up in Boston. I'm wicked smart. Well, grant me the grace of understanding. To get that, I have viruses in the program that I am unaware of. See, this is why it's different than knowing something, understanding. It is easy to understand someone's in a bad mood when they've had bad shit happen to them. I'm going back into the vaults for this one. Imagine you work in an office. And every morning you walk into the office and you say hi to Millie, the receptionist. They just pulled the name out of the air. Hi, Millie. And everybody, she's like, hi, have a good day, just made coffee. One morning you walk in, you say hi to Millie, and she doesn't say hi back. So by the time you get to your desk, it's fuck Millie. Fuck her weak coffee making. Fuck her and say hi back. Screw her and the horse she rode in on. I bet she doesn't even take care of the horse she rode in on. By lunchtime, you find out that Millie's cat died. See, now, what? I'm talking fiction, and you all went like that. You all shifted instantly. So now you're taking your lunch hour online, finding Rainbow Bridge cards.
Oh, jeez.
So at the end of your lunch, you find out she killed her cat. Now you're ready to call the ASPCA, gather a militia. You've got the pitchforks, you've got the torches, she's at the front desk now, let's get her! Then you find out she accidentally killed her cat. Like an EKG, you went, not really understanding what was going on. This is where the grace of humility can come in. I know that I don't know what the fuck is going on with her. Maybe she's having a past life moment. Maybe she's off her meds. I don't know, but I can hear, this is what you love about this. Give her understanding. You're just not in a good mood. You're usually wonderful. I said to you before we started, if you have a beautiful, I love golden retriever puppies. We never had golden retriever puppies. We had Newfoundland puppies. Oh my God, we had I think 4 boys and 2 girls over my adolescence into adulthood. The sweetest fucking dogs. They're like, well, they're Volkswagen bugs with black hair, right? They're fucking huge. But puppies, they look just like teddy bears, and they smell like kibble, and their paws smell like popcorn. There's nothing better than a Newfie puppy coming and waking you up, and I love you. It's so cute. But let's say you come home to something adorable like that every day. Licks on the face, because, you know, you can go to the bathroom, the dog thinks you're gone forever. You come back and you're like, you're back! I love you so much, don't ever leave. No, it's the cats that do that, but they're just pushing you towards the cat ball when they do that. One day you come home, and the dog is in the corner snarling and snapping at you. Cujo! Satan has possessed my dog. It's a Satan-foundland. What the fuck? It's a Satan retriever. Perdition retriever. No! That's not what you do. You go, oh my God, what's wrong? You understand without knowing what's going on. It's instant. Why? And I've said this. Because dogs don't criticize you. Dogs don't give you stink eye quite the way cats do. Yeah. So if you could do that for a dog, if you can do that for a cat that shits in a box and barely covers it up, why can't you do it for another brother or sister in human life? Please get yourself comfortable. We're not going deep into meditation, but Like, sit upright. Put that focus on the solar plexus. If you like, even put your hands on your solar plexus, cradling it like a baby. Because when you think about it, when you cradle a baby, your solar plexus is right there. So you're going to give yourself a little support. You're going to stand under, so to speak, your solar plexus. Here we go. Again. God, Goddess, hover over us. Please flow this grace of understanding, for we need the experience of it. That we may experience an understanding beyond words, that may well bring us to a peace beyond understanding, the peace that passeth understanding. Help us to do no harm when we don't understand. Let that voice of grace rise up within us as a feeling, or maybe even as a voice with words, to remind us you don't understand what's going on. You have some facts, you don't have all of them. Because even at genius, we only use 10% of our brain. How could we possibly process all of the data? It's not possible. Instead, flood us with this grace. Flood us with understanding. Raise us up above the fray of the personal, that we may understand impersonally, that we may understand there is only one pain body that we share, that there really is only one path home, that all of us have our own unique individual curriculum for. Help us to be more understanding of ourselves when we stumble, when we fall. Help us to understand as we work with these mystical substances that we call graces, that feelings and memories may arise from appearing out of nowhere, and that we don't have to examine and analyze and figure out the reasons for and trace them back, enough to know, to understand that healing is taking place. And so, along with this grace of understanding, let us know that endurance is also there, that we can endure whatever rises up from within our sub and unconscious minds, from our cell tissues itself, the repressed, stored, locked away trauma and pain, that it can come up and be released. May this grace of understanding give way to true forgiveness. That as divine beings in a quantum hallucination, we're perfect. We're all doing the best that we can. That this planet, real or unreal, is not a prison, but a classroom. And that every time we learn, we evolve. And every time we evolve, we grow. And every time we grow, we expand. But we don't get to choose the curriculum. We just get to choose whether or not we want to learn in that moment, whether or not we want to heal in that moment, whether or not we want to grow, whether or not we want to evolve. That we don't have to play tug of war with ourselves anymore. But instead we can pray for this grace and receive an understanding in our bellies. And from that we will be shown what to do. We will be given the words to say. Words that stem from grace rather than pain. Dearest God, Goddess, all that is, thank you. Thank you for these graces. thank you for the grace of understanding. May we experience it more and more and more with each passing day of practice, that we may extend it to others silently and therefore receive it ourselves when we are most in need of it. Help us to understand that we can heal beyond reason, that a miracle is a reasonable thing to ask for and available. The light of miracles and grace is always upon us. Grant us the experiential understanding to remove the shields, to lower them, that this grace can flow into us as well as flow out from us into a world in desperate need of understanding. Just breathe that. See if something gives way in you. Notice if something melts a little that was hardened before. Thank you.